Our top story this hour, Moderna and Pfizer have given the world much-needed hope that a COVID-19 vaccine might be available soon. Now, the next challenge will be distribution of this vaccine. Many countries have already joined the race to hoard the vaccine doses. Now, Moderna and Pfizer combined could provide the United States with 2 vaccines authorized for emergency use in December. As many as 60 million doses could be available by the end of this year. Next year, the US could have access to more than 1 billion doses just from these 2 vaccine makers. Now, this is more than required for a population of 330 million people.
The first agreement that we reached with the US government was for an order of 100 million doses. So we anticipate to be able to ship up to 20 million of those 100 million before the end of the year. So we are making product, as you know, every day and stockpiling it. And assuming we get the green light from the FDA, I would say sometime in December, I'm sure General Perna from Operation Warp Speed will be ready with the trucks to load the product and to distribute it in the US via the CDC guidelines.
The UK has secured 5 million doses of potential vaccine developed by Moderna. The earliest dose is expected to be delivered in spring. Now, UK had previously secured deals for a total of 350 million vaccine doses from 6 different suppliers. Earlier, Prime Minister Boris Johnson said that the government had prioritized deals with vaccine developers who could provide early supply to UK and have advanced manufacturing supply chains in place.
Moderna have today announced results from their preliminary trial data, suggesting that their vaccine has an effectiveness of 94.5%. This is another encouraging step forward. Although I stress that this is preliminary, the safety data is limited, and their production facilities are not yet at scale. Should this latest vaccine be approved, the doses would be available from spring next year. And I can announce that we have today secured an initial agreement for 5 million doses of the Moderna vaccine. This is a similar RNA technology to Pfizer-BioNTech, of which we've already ordered 40 million doses, which, should that be proved to work, can come on stream potentially before the end of this year.
Meanwhile, Israel has approached Russia to discuss buying its Sputnik V vaccine. Israel reached a deal with Moderna in June. Last week, the country joined another deal with Pfizer. Israel is also developing its own vaccine. If successful, the vaccine could be market-ready by the end of summer 2021.
לפני שעה קלה שוחחתי עם נשיא רוסיה, ולדימיר פוטין, על האפשרות לרכוש אופציה על החיסון ספוטניק 5, ואנחנו נדון בזה בימים הקרובים. המטרה שלי היא להביא כמה שיותר חיסונים, מכמה שיותר מקומות, לכמה שיותר אזרחים, וכמה שיותר מהר.
And for more on this, Lucy, who is joining us live from Brussels. Lucy, thank you for joining us. Now, many countries have already secured the deals for the vaccines, as you of course know. What can you tell us about the process of distribution? As we know, the storage of the Pfizer vaccine has become a major concern now.
Yeah, there is unique challenges with regards to the Pfizer vaccine in terms of the temperature at which it needs to be stored of minus 80 degrees, which is going to present serious problems or issues to surmount in terms of the distribution. That's not the case with some of the other vaccines that we're seeing coming to the late stage of trials, for example, the Moderna vaccine as well. So, yes, we know that it is being produced in Belgium, the Pfizer vaccine, but there will be logistical issues in terms of distribution. We know that the European Union has signed deals for 5 vaccines already and is looking to secure a deal for the Moderna vaccine, which was announced this week, that it has got 94% effectiveness. But getting these vaccines to the people most in need across the European Union, not least the world, is going to be a serious challenge. Now, the European Union announced its vaccine strategy back in October to coordinate how these vaccines will be transported from production to individual member states. It's urging countries to work together on this and to preempt the logistical challenges that there will be or to come. But they will be targeting people most in need, vulnerable members of the population, frontline health workers, to make sure that those early doses of the vaccines are given to those most in need.
I was actually going to come to that. Also, what can you tell us about the process of ensuring that the vaccine reaches everyone, and what do you think will be the plan for distribution once, of course, a safe and secure vaccine is available?
Well, the EU is working with the COVAX facility, which did have a somewhat slow start, but the COVAX facility is about ensuring fair global distribution of any potential vaccines that will become available towards the end of this year, and then more broadly from spring 2021. Now, the European Union initially gave a grant of 400 million euros to the COVAX facility. It's since added an extra 100 million euros to that, and that is about fair global distribution. Now, in terms of the European Union more broadly, member states have given responsibility and coordination to a centralised level in Brussels in terms of the procurement of vaccines, but also the distribution once they become available on the market. So the distribution is being coordinated from a centralised level, and that is, we know that a number of these vaccines are being produced in Europe. The Pfizer vaccine, for one, is being produced in a facility here in Belgium. So that has been handed over. So what we won't have is what we had at the sort of start of this crisis, which was a patchwork of EU member states slightly doing their own thing. There will be better coordination, the EU hopes, and as I say, that vaccine strategy was announced in the middle of October to ensure that there is fair distribution and the targeting of those who are most in need at the early stage as the first doses start to appear on the market. The EU is hoping that it can start to administer those first vaccines in December to people like health workers who are most in need of protection.
All right. And I think another very important point here is that next year, and I'm quoting, the US could have access to more than 1 billion doses just from these two vaccine makers, that is Pfizer and Moderna. Now, this is more than required for a population of 330 million people. How do you assess this? Do you think hoarding these vaccines could lead to bigger problems?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a number of warnings from the WHO, from people working with the COVAX facility, such as agencies like Gavi, warning of the dangers of COVID vaccine hoarding. And we know that the US has been reticent to sign up to the COVAX facility and its message about fair distribution. That may change under a Biden administration, but certainly the European Commission has been supportive of the COVAX facility, but it has continued to sign bilateral deals with these pharmaceutical companies to ensure that it has adequate supplies for its own population. We know, for example, that it's secured 300 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine, which could be administered to 150 million people here in the European Union, because that Pfizer vaccine needs 2 injections. We know also that the Oxford AstraZeneca, we've got 300 million doses secured by that, and we know that the European Union is working on a 6th deal with the Moderna vaccine as well to secure some further millions of vaccines as well. So we know that the EU will have in excess of its own population of 450 million people, but we know that the European Union is going to work to supply those doses to countries, small and medium income countries around the world, to ensure that those most in need, those developing countries, have fair access as well.
All right, Lucy, thank you so much for joining us with all those inputs.